Hi, it's Talsvids. In this video I'm going to show the control center's additional features in iOS 11. Now I made an earlier video where I covered part of the control center, but these are things that I've found out at a later date, so I thought it would make a good part 2 followed up video. Now to access control center in iOS 11 you just swipe up from the bottom of your screen. So now that we're in control center, if we look at the top left on mine, now I'm going to demonstrate this on an iPhone that has got 3D touch, but if yours hasn't got 3D touch, you simply just have a long touch on this particular part instead. So I'll just 3D touch on this top left part. As we can see now, that jumps into another dialog box and you've got additional options which weren't previously shown. Now onto the one on the right, which is music. If I do a 3D touch with that, you can see that brings up additional information, and if we look at the top right of this little dialog box, we've got an option where if we had any other connected headphones or AirPlay speakers or Bluetooth speakers, they would show up in this little dialog. Now if we go down onto the one that's got a little padlock and an arrow circling around it, if I do a 3D touch on that, that one hasn't got any extra functionality, so you can see there there's nothing happens. It'll just switch the portrait orientation lock on. Now to the right of that one we've got the half moon, which is the do not disturb function. If I press on that, again that's one of the ones that hasn't got any additional functionality. Now onto the one that is to the right of that, which looks like a sun. If I do a 3D touch on that, you can see there that will bring up basically a brightness slider, which we can either swipe up or down on it, and you can see there. And also at the very bottom we've got night shift, and that will enable that function if we were to touch on that. As you can see there, the screen's changed. Now next to that one we've got the volume control, and if we 3D touch on that, you can see again it'll fetch up a slider and we can simply just drag up and down. So if we look at screen mirroring, if we do a 3D touch on that, that will basically show any connected Apple TVs that we've got, and we would then be able to mirror our iPhone screen onto our TV via the Apple TV box. Now onto the bottom part here, we've got one that looks like a torch. Now if we do a 3D touch onto that, we can basically switch on the torch feature on the iPhone, and we can choose the level of brightness, or we can switch it off just by swiping up and down. So on to the next one. So if we do a 3D touch on that one, that will bring up the timer, and again we can swipe up or down and that will increase the timer duration, and below that we've got the start button, which would obviously start the timer off, counting down or counting up. So now on to the calculator. So if we do a 3D touch on that one, that would just simply show us the last result that we'd calculated. Can't really do anything else with that one. And now onto the camera. 3D touch on that. That'll bring up various photo taking modes. So we could take a selfie, start recording video, record a slow-mo video, or take a portrait shot with the front camera on the iPhone. So it saves you having to go into the camera app and then digging into the settings on there. You can simply just do a 3D touch on the control center and you've got quick access to them. So it's quite handy for the camera. The next one that's flashing red, that's the screen recording function, which I'm currently using. So if I do a 3D touch on that, that'll bring up an option for me to stop the recording or start the recording if I wasn't doing so already, and an option below that to knock the microphone's audio on or off. So the next one is the notes. So if I do a 3D touch on that, we can see now with this one, we've got options to create a new note, create a note with a checklist on it, create a note with a photo. So if I was to choose the new photo, it would launch the camera app. I would take the photo and then it would insert it into the note. And a new sketch. So if I just touch that, that'll bring up the Notes app, and as you can see along the bottom here, we've got the sketch tools. So I think that about covers everything for the extra functionality of the control center in iOS 11. I hope you found it useful, this video. If you have, can you please give it a thumbs up, and also if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you'll receive emails when I upload any new videos. Well, thanks for watching. Goodbye.